Okay guys, this next problem looks really tricky. It says two angles are complementary. One angle is 20 degrees smaller than the other angle. What are the measures of both angles? So the first thing I want to do is create a pair of complementary angles. And I know that complementary angles are equal to 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do right now is just kind of create a pair of angles that are adjacent to each other. And I can put a little square here saying, hey, these angles are complementary. They equal 90 degrees. They have a sum of 90 degrees. And we'd call this point down here, we'd call that the vertex. So let's just start labeling these angles real quick. So I'm going to create some points here. I'm going to put 1, 2, and a third point. And this angle here, the smaller of the two angles, I'm going to call it angles A, B, and C. And then let's put a D out here. So I have angle ABC, also angle CBD, and when they're added together, they equal 90 degrees. So right now, I don't know the measure of either angle, so I could create some variables. I know that one variable is going to be called x. I'm putting this in the larger spot right now. Now let's go back to that word problem for a second, and we're going to highlight some key things. Since they're complementary, we've already covered that. They're 90 degrees. We know one of the angles is 20 degrees smaller than the other angle. So if x is the larger angle, I know this other angle is 20 degrees smaller. So I could say, hey, you know what? Since angle ABC is 20 degrees smaller, let's just call this measure x minus 20. So 20 degrees less than the other angle. But when I take these two angles and add them together, they're equal to 90 degrees. So let's set up an equation here. And this is why word problems are so important. We're getting into the fundamentals of creating algebraic equations. Well, I know that x, I'll put that down over here. I'll use a black pen real quick, plus this value, x minus 20. And you could even put these in parentheses if you wanted to. That's equal to 90 degrees. Well, let's go ahead and get rid of these parentheses real quick, because the truth is I can't simplify x minus 20 further right now. I've got to ask myself, how can I isolate these variables? Well, there's a couple of things I can do. The first thing I want to do is put 20 on the other side. So how do I undo subtraction of 20? I've got to add 20. If I do it to this side, I've got to do it to the other side. So I know the opposites will cancel out. And I'm left with, well, I see an x here, and I see another x here. Well, that's really two x's. So I'm going to add them together. And I have 2x is equal to, well, 90 plus 20 is 110. So how do we isolate the variable from here? We have to undo multiplication, so we're going to divide by 2. If we do it to this side, we have to do it to the other side. Well, 2 and 2, the multiplication and division will cancel, and I'm left with x is equal to 110 divided by 2 is 55. So I know that x is equal to 55 degrees. So this value here is 55 degrees. I can box that up. However, this angle is not 55 degrees. It's 20 degrees less than 55. So 55 minus 20 is equal to 35 degrees. Cool stuff, guys. I'll see you in the next problems.